Okay, just one more time, just as a reminder, any questions that you may have during this webinar, please submit them in the Q&A box down at the bottom of your screen. Actually, I'm not sure if that's on the bottom of everybody's screen, but we will not be monitoring questions in the chat box, so please make sure you put them in the Q&A box. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome and thank you so much for signing on today. Yes, okay, well, we got a question right off it. No, so this is a webinar. A webinar is a little bit different format than regular Zoom calls. So for those of you that have never attended a webinar on Zoom, you are only able to see the panelists, which are people on the side, and you'll be introduced to them shortly, and the main screen that we're sharing. So welcome to our CERT launch webinar that we're having for the Woodside-Portola Valley Community Emergency Response Team. Next, please. This is our agenda. We're just going to start with some simple introductions about who's going to be talking. We're going to explain to you what CERT is exactly. I know a lot of you guys have taken CERT, or most of you at least heard of it, but we still want to make sure we describe exactly what it is for those of you who maybe have never heard of it. And then we're going to get into the CERT curriculum, how we're transitioning during these times, and scheduling our next class. And then we're going to explain how CERT's organized and how it's activated in times of disaster. We're also going to tell you how you can register as a CERT with our program. We'll give you a heads up about our upcoming training webinars. We'll tell you how you, we'll explain to you about our radio network and how you can be a part of that. And then if we have time at the end, obviously we want to have Q&A. And if we don't have time at the end of this, because we want to be considerate of everybody's time, there will be, we will definitely follow up with you via email. Next slide, please. Okay, first off, who am I? I'm Selena Brown. I'm the Woodside Fire Protection District Public Education Officer and Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. And I'm also the Program Manager for the CERT program. And then we have Mark Dolan on here. He is part of the Woodside Emergency Preparedness Committee. He's the chair of it, and he's also our CERT committee chair. Then we have Chip Swan. He's also on the Woodside Emergency Preparedness Committee. He's the vice chair, and he's our chair for the WPV Ready Committee. We also have Chris. Chris, I apologize. I'm gonna butcher your last name. Ranis.
Okay. Ronis, you got it. If it starts with an R and ends with an S, good enough.
Thank you. My gut, right? He's on our Portola Valley Emergency Preparedness Committee chair. So thank you for joining us as well. We have Cam McCowan. She's WPV-CERT training curriculum development, as well as many other things. The list could go on with her. We have Dr. Jerry Sheffrin. He's part of the Portola Valley Emergency Preparedness Committee as well. And he's also going to be handling our records for CERT. And last but definitely not least, we have Dr. Vicki Coe, and she is as well on the Woodside Emergency Preparedness Committee, and she's part of our CERT event coordination. Next slide, please.
So the next earthquake, we know it's going to happen within 30 years. We know we're going to get a big one. We have no idea when it's going to occur, but we have to be ready.
We've had a lot of people that felt like they needed to do something after the earthquake. Today, the CERT program is stronger than ever.
We care about our community, so we sign up and show up. This is my first citywide drill where I get to apply the skills I've learned.
We assessed the building from outside to see what we noticed.
You are always assessing your situation to make sure that you react quickly and proactively. I've also learned many different skills like being able to assess structural damage in a building, look for gas leaks, and do a little bit of triage.
Our job here is to train our CERT volunteers to be on their own for at least 3 or 4 days. We're so used to calling on resources that are readily available to us, and during the time of an earthquake, those resources just aren't going to come. So you really have to rely on your neighbors and the people that are around you.
I am not afraid anymore. If another earthquake happens or another disaster, I have some skills that I've learned, and so the fear and the terror is not there.
It's really empowering to know that you're what's going to be there first. You're what's going to comfort the people.
Because of the CERT training, we didn't lose hope. We actually became proponents of you can survive no matter what.
I think what I like best about the program is just feeling like I am part of San Francisco, and in case of an emergency, I feel prepared.
My apologies, I muted myself. So that was our motivational video, right? What is CERT exactly? CERT stands for the Community Emergency Response Team, and it's a program that trains volunteers on disaster preparedness, and it teaches them about what hazards they could experience within their neighborhoods and gives them skills to respond in an organized fashion. This is extremely important, and it was established in LA in 1993 and created as a FEMA standard. And it is now implemented in all 50 states. So this program is a FEMA recognized standard. And obviously it works if we have it within all 50 states. Next slide, please. When would you guys be utilized? Obviously, right after a disaster, when the fire district and law enforcement, EMS, will be extremely overwhelmed. 911 may not work. It's the people around you. You guys are the ones that are going to be helping each other. So it's important that we provide you with the skills in order to do that in a safe and organized fashion. And we also at times may request you to assist us. I'm speaking in terms of the fire district, so we may need you to help us do jobs, as well as the towns. And this may be in planned events or some non-emergency settings. So special events that may occur if we need to fill sandbags or other items.
So WPV-CERT covers the entire Woodside Fire Protection District, the WFPD, and that includes the towns of Woodside and Portola Valley, and the areas of Emerald Hills, Ladera, Los Trancos, Skyline, Vista Verde, and other nearby unincorporated parts of San Mateo County. And the motto is always, first and foremost, that we seek to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. The CERT training benefits anybody who takes it, whether or not you participate in any CERT activity after you've become trained. You're going to learn some great skills that could save your own life. You don't need to participate in activations. We're all volunteers. All participation is voluntary. We have over 250 people that have taken the CERT training classes that were hosted by the WFPD, and the CERT organization allows our volunteer resources to be allocated to the areas of greatest need in an emergency, which basically means that we're able to achieve a critical mass. We can get enough people together that we can send teams of skilled people where they're needed. And so that's the big good news for the new program. Thank you.
So the new version of the training that you'll hear is described as being a hybrid training. And what that means is that it's a combination of taking some of the lecture-based component of the training, and it is now available in an online format. That said, there are definitely skills that you need to have your hands on and do in person. And so the training has now been divided into those sections. An online skills, an online lecture that was originally developed by the University of Utah, and then followed up with skills training and testing done locally. So in addition to that national curriculum, we also want to make sure that this is about building the community and knowing what our local resources are. So as we have folks doing this online training, there will be a mailing list for this upcoming cadre of people taking the class together. And we are going to be setting up some weekly meeting discussion sessions, both as a means of doing Q&A and also for doing community building. Go ahead, next slide. Just some details about the online lectures. It is asynchronous. You can do, it's very convenient. You can do it on your own time, on your own equipment. You can do a part of it and then wherever you're at, it can be saved and then you can resume it later. We anticipate that it'll take something like 12 hours. This is a lot of rich information. So we've encouraged people to spread it out over time so that you get a chance to really absorb it. It's also a resource that you can come back to afterwards. We encourage people to go through all of the online curriculum, and then as a group we'll get together afterwards, do the in-person training. We believe that we will be using the version that is hosted by the state of California's Office of Emergency Management. This national implementation was developed by the University of Utah, but there is some additional curriculum that is being developed and being implemented in the state of California. That said, we're waiting for them to dot their I's and cross their T's. And so it is possible that we may be using the University of Utah's version. The content is the same, it's just there are going to be some additional components. Next slide, please. Following finishing that online component, we are going to have probably 2 days of really doing that. It's a chance to get hands-on, both in terms of being familiar with the practical skills. We're hoping to be doing this class sometime in early February. Of course, we don't know what's going to be possible given the current pandemic, but it is something that we intend to do in a way that is safe with social distancing, and so we're going to be looking at hopefully doing that at some point in early February. Next slide, please. As I said, we'll be having both a asynchronous mailing list for people to have conversations, Q&A, meet the instructors, and then also we have a series of Monday evenings available. These are optional, but they're highly recommended because this is about being a team. One of the big disadvantage of doing online training is that you don't get to have that hallway conversation. So we're hoping to give a chance so that you to have a virtual hallway conversation with current members. We encourage all CERT members as well as the incoming people who are going to be taking the training and the instructors to be available for those Monday evenings. Next slide. To sign up, we've got a link to on our main page. Just go ahead and follow that link. It'll send you to an Eventbrite registration. And then, next slide. And then sometime about November 7th, we'll be sending you a link for the registration of that online site. It will be either, as I said, State of California's Office of Emergency Management, or it may be directly to the University of Utah. We'll also get you signed up on the mailing list at the same time. So we really look forward to anyone joining us. If you have taken the CERT training before, but you feel like, you know, it's been long enough, I really want to refresh it, you are very welcome to do so. If you took the training before but weren't able to complete all the sections, we encourage you to take it as well. This is really great material. And as you saw on the list of skills, this is a lot of material. It's not something that you take once you're done and it's perfect. It's an ongoing, continuous learning. And so definitely don't feel like you need to do it once and you're done. It's something that is ongoing. Next.
Great, thank you, Cam. So we're excited to talk about what's been happening with the program and what we're calling the new WPV-CERT program, because in the past, many have taken the CERT class through the fire district, but there has never been an official CERT program. There's been no official activation procedures, or what we call the standard operating procedures document, and additional supporting elements to make an actual CERT team. So we're very excited that this is all now in place. We have official standard operating procedures, which I'll talk about a little bit in detail in a few slides. We've also started to acquire equipment, and in fact, we've even participated in a California grant program that's supported through our governor. More than $50 million was allocated towards the CERT and similar emergency preparedness programs. He's very in support of these programs, and so there's some grant funds that we're going to be receiving. We're also very excited to talk about the disaster service worker volunteer protections that we can now provide as part of this to help protect our volunteers if they're in an activation. And we have a lot of upcoming training and events that we're putting on the calendar, so that, as Cam mentioned, that this is recurrent. It's important to stay current on your training, and there are perishable skills, and so these upcoming training events will help us stay fresh on those. So standard operating procedures. This is a key part. You'll actually, if you take the CERT online class, it goes into exactly what role this document plays in the program, but essentially it's the rules of the road. It describes the program, how it's administered, how we officially get activated. It sets our training levels and requirements, and it defines kind of the overall organizational structure of the program, and it provides position descriptions of command post staff so they know what roles they're supposed to be playing in an activation. The SOP is currently available on our website. It's at the WPV-CERT.org. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see a copy of it. So please, if you've taken the CERT training, please take a look at that. So the basic disaster response organization for WPV-CERT is that we have 3 branches. Those branches are loosely aligned with the borders of Woodside, Portola Valley, and then up on Skyline. So in a major incident like a large earthquake, you would stage at one of these locations. So in Woodside, it's currently the Mounted Patrol Ground. In Portola Valley, it's the town center. And at Skyline, it's up at the intersection of 84 and Skyline. So this is where you would go to meet up with other CERT members and start working as a team. So let's talk more about what activation means. That means that our sponsoring agency, the fire district, or others that are authorized to activate the team, such as the town staff or CERT leadership, we activate the team when we have an activity that they can do, and that is a formal way that we bring the team into action. And of course, as we learn in the CERT training, we don't self-activate, meaning we don't just show up at some incident without being asked to be there, except in the case of a major earthquake where there's this reasonable expectation that CERT would be activated, but perhaps because of communication outages, that message hasn't been able to go through. So in that type of situation, this is when you would just go to one of the branch staging locations. And it is your choice where you go. It doesn't mean that because you live in Woodside, you have to go to the Woodside staging location. In fact, you could live in Portola Valley and be having dinner at Buck's in Woodside, and in that case, the closest staging location would be the Woodside staging at the Mounted Patrol Grounds. So again, we're CERTs within the entire fire district, so it doesn't matter where you show up. We're also really excited to announce that we've finished working with the towns and the fire districts to put in place a disaster service worker volunteer program. And what this does is it provides workers' compensation benefits to registered disaster service worker volunteers who get injured while they're participating in an authorized disaster activity or pre-approved training. And this provides also some limited immunity from liability. And it's available to our CERT members who meet the training and currency requirements that are outlined within the standard operating procedures document. So it's really important to remember all CERT participation is voluntary. If you receive a notification of a CERT activation, as always, you check on yourself, your family, and your home. And you can check on your neighbors and your neighborhood. And you should always understand any existing neighborhood emergency plans, such as that might be in place in a WPV-ready division. And in a major earthquake activation, go ahead and proceed to that branch staging location only if you're willing and able to assist. And now I'll pass it to Jerry, who will talk about our different CERT levels.
Thank you, Mark. We have two CERT programs, or two opportunities for you to participate as a CERT. The first one is those who have completed the basic CERT training and may have done so because they wanted to just learn better how to be safe for themselves and their family or their neighborhood, but also are interested in being part of an activation if that were to occur. Those CERTs do have some protection under the Good Samaritan laws of California, but they are not eligible for the disaster service worker status. Other CERT members may want to be more intensely involved. They can take the CERT training. They will attend a training class or drill every year. They will have completed a CPR training class, and they will have completed the National Incident Management Systems Class 100 and 700. Those are put on by FEMA and can be done online and are actually easy to accomplish. CERTs who participate in this manner will be issued a biannual ID badge, and as Mark mentioned, they will be registered as disaster service workers and covered under that program. Next slide, please. The WPV-CERT maintains a database of all CERT-trained individuals. That database contains information so that we can reach you in the case of an emergency, and it also allows us to push information to you about CERT programs, events, and trainings. The database also will have lists of the trainings that you have completed and when you are due for additional trainings such as CPR or first aid. It will list other special skills that you may have, such as ham radio license, special medical or management experience that could be particularly valuable during a deployment. And it will list if you are eligible for the disaster service worker program should you be injured during a training or a deployment. Any of this information is not shared outside of the CERT program. We currently have a database that contains about 250 people, but we do not know how accurate or current that information is. So I'm encouraging you today to please go to the WPV-CERT.org website and go to the registration page and fill that out so that we can reach out to you to see if we can update the information for you in our database. Next slide.
Vicki, you're muted.
Got it. I'll start again. Good afternoon, and thank you all for sharing part of your afternoon with us to learn about CERT. Each of you brings special skills to the table, and if you're like me, some of the units contained information that was very familiar, and other of the units was completely new information. And in a short period of time, you learn a lot of information, you take the drill at the end of the course, and that may be the end of it. And it's that the skills that you've learned in this course are kept current. And for that reason, we are starting a series of webinars to keep people informed, keep their skill set fresh. The first one's going to be on November 7th at 10 a.m. and it will be on how to organize your first aid kit so that you will be maximally effective at using it if you were asked to treat injuries. The contents of that kit were specifically for earthquakes, but the contents are useful for many other scenarios. We will also go a little bit into and what things you want to put in your backpack or in your first aid kit as well to protect yourself. The second one is going to be on December 12th. It's a radio communication class. And the third one will be January 16th from 3 to 5, and that'll be on command post operations. So these are the classes that are coming up. We hope you can take advantage of these to keep your skills current, and hope to see you there. Thank you. If suggestions to add to this list, upcoming webinars, please feel free to email me and we will to accommodate that. Thank you. Next slide.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris Ronis. I'm the chair of the Portola Valley EPC. I've also been a CERT member and leading various parts of it for probably over a decade now. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your Saturday to join. And I also really want to thank the CERT, WPV-CERT leadership. I mean, the view from the Portola Valley side is that we just love all the new energy and leadership, and we want this to be as successful as possible. One of our big goals for the year is to tightly integrate CERT in with the town's emergency response. But today, I specifically want to talk about radio networks and the importance of that. Not the radios we have at the command center or at the town EOC, but the handheld radios that we can use during an emergency to communicate between the CERT members and the command post. And the main use case here, we'll run a short video about how that works, but both Portola Valley and Woodside have a dedicated frequency on a dedicated repeater that certain members can use to get hold of folks at the incident command post. It's one of the things we do when we get there. We activate that. Let's go ahead and run the video, and then I'll come back and follow up on how you can get a radio for yourself and do part of that communication.
All right, so we just had a major earthquake, and I went and checked on my family, checked on the house, everything's okay. I grabbed my CERT backpack, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my radio out and get it turned on. So here's my radio, and here's a lithium battery pack, which I'll go ahead and connect to the radio. I leave that disconnected so it doesn't drain when it's in storage. I'll go ahead and turn on the radio and make sure I'm on the CERT repeater channel. And also I carry with me a spare battery, and this one is a AA pack. So if I ever need to have a fresh battery pack and I'm not able to charge the lithium, I can just use regular AA batteries, or in this case, the lithium non-rechargeable AA batteries are great for long-term storage. So I'm gonna go ahead and head down to the staging area right now.
Attention WPV-CERT members, the mounted patrol grounds have been badly damaged. The new Woodside branch staging location will be at the Woodside Village Church, across from Woodside Elementary. Portola Valley branch staging location is the town center in Portola Valley.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can help, but there's a house on fire down the street. We tried calling 911, but the phones are down.
Okay, I can try to send a message to the command post and they can get it relayed on. What was the address you said?
It's near the intersection of Jones and Maple, and it's beginning to spread fast.
Jones and Maple. Okay, thank you. Command post, team 1.
Team 1, go ahead.
Yes, I have a report of a rapidly spreading house fire at the intersection of Jones and Maple.
Command post copies. Spreading house fire at the intersection of Jones and Maple.
Okay, so as we just saw in that little video, having a two-way radio can be a very valuable tool when we lose our regular communication methods like cellular phones, landlines, internet access, and text messaging. Ideally, we'd like to have all of our CERT members have a radio, and we've made it very easy to purchase one. If you go to our website, WPV-CERT.org, there is a link to purchase a radio that's been pre-programmed, and you do not need to be an amateur radio operator. There's no tests that you have to take. You just purchase the radio and purchase a license through the FCC, and then you can use the radio. And we're going to be offering training videos on YouTube so that you can understand how to use the radio and practice using the radio, as well as offering monthly nets, which is an opportunity to talk to other CERT members over the radio and practice using the radio. Another important reason why you might want to have a radio is if in the upcoming power safety shutoffs, I know that the fire district in many areas, people lost all communication in that outage, and having this two-way radio would enable you to communicate with other CERT members and pass important messages should that be necessary. So thanks very much for watching.
Nice example there, and it kind of describes the use case we're thinking of, which is ideally every trained CERT member would have one of these radios so that when you're on the way to the staging area and you see something or someone approaches you and asks a question, you need to report something that you think would be important, you can pick up the radio. And like I said, both the Woodside Incident Command and the Portola Valley Incident Command, we've got dedicated frequencies. It's one of the things we do when we activate. We'll turn those on and we'll be listening. It is as Mark said in the demo, it's a GMRS radio. You need a license, but you don't need any training. You fill out the form, you get a 10-year license for it. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible. And you can see there's a link up there. Go to the WPV-CERT.org website. Go to the buy, /buy, and you can actually order one of these, and it will come pre-programmed with all the frequencies you need in order to do what Mark was demonstrating there. And it's a great way for every trained CERT member to be able to reach the incident command post. There are other radios at those posts. When we send people out on teams, we've got a dedicated set of radios. When we need to talk to law enforcement, fire, et cetera, we've got a set of radios. But this is for every trained CERT member to be able to reach out to the incident command. In addition, every Tuesday night at 7:30, we power up so people can just try it and get used to it and feel comfortable with the radio. And I'd like to encourage everyone to think about it and get themselves a radio. Thanks.
All right, just to top this off, again, I'm so excited about all the things that are happening here. We've had so much discussion about implementing our official CERT program. So this has been amazing to have this come to fruition today. But I can never hold an event in the fire district without mentioning SMC Alert. And hopefully everybody on here is signed up for SMC Alert. If you are not currently, please go to smcalert.info to sign up. If you are already signed up, I please encourage you to ask people that you talk to on a regular basis around you. Even if they're not within our district, it's important that they're signed up for this notification system. This is the primary way that Woodside Fire Protection District utilizes their emergency notifications. And it sends out alerts. If you go on there and register, it'll send out alerts to any email address, cell phone number, or landline phone number that you input in there. And you can choose what types of notifications you want and certain areas that you want to receive notifications for. This is extremely important to have, not just for deployment of CERT activation, but if there is a big disaster. If there is a wildland fire, this is how we notify you of evacuations. If there are road closures, this is how we notify you. And if you sign up and you have other family members that live within San Mateo County, you can choose to receive notifications from other areas within San Mateo County. I know I personally have friends and family that are not within Woodside Fire. They're within the San Mateo County district. So I've chosen to receive notifications that way. So if you haven't done so yet, please do it now. Next slide, please. All right, last but not least, let's see where we at. Well, we have about 20 minutes left on time. So if we have any questions, we'll check down here in the Q&A. And if there's a question that you want to ask, but maybe not put in the Q&A box, you can always email us at info@wpv-cert.org. We really appreciate everybody that's in attendance today, and a recording of this will be available. We will be posting this on our YouTube channel after this, our WPV-Ready YouTube channel, so you'll be able to view it. So we'll see if there's any questions or if anybody else would like to add anything. I just want to say thank you special thanks to Mark Dolan for really putting this all together, and everybody else on the panel for participating today, and all of the people that have signed up for the webinar for taking some time out of your Saturday to come and learn more about how you can prepare yourself. Just this month, in October, we've had Fire Prevention Week at the beginning of the month, and then we had the Great Shakeout, which pertains to earthquake preparedness. So it's really important that you guys, it's especially important to us that we provide you guys valuable information and that you help us so we can all be a team together.
I have a question. It's probably directed at Chip. Can you hear me?
Yep.
The form that you need to register the radio, is that on our website?
No, it's not right now, and we'll get a link to that for you.
Okay, that'd be great.
And get that on the website, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Good point. I never noticed that because I know where to get the form, so I just didn't cross my mind. You bet.
Chip, there's a question with regards to the what are the frequencies and the bands that are that we are using. The question comes from Victor Schechter and it's on the Q&A.
All right, so these radios that you can buy online are using GMRS repeater, actually. So it's tuned into a specific frequency. They're also tuned in so that you can listen to the various fire dispatch local frequencies and other community responder frequencies, but those are listen only programmed. And again, as I say, they're pre-programmed for repeaters, which is a system that lets you talk to a great big antenna someplace that can reach the entire area. And there's a different one for Woodside and a different one for Portola Valley. And again, they are GMRS repeater frequencies. Does that answer the question well enough, or do you want to get into some more detail? Because the specific frequencies and other settings are available. And in fact, if you want to just Google GMRS repeater frequencies, you'll get more detail than you want.
Yeah, and I'll just add that if you purchase one of those radios and you're not an amateur radio operator and you get interested in perhaps taking the test and becoming one, this radio is capable of transmitting and receiving on amateur radio frequencies as well. So this could be your first amateur radio. So it's got joint use for you if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
We absolutely want to encourage people to get their amateur radio license. I did it, so anybody can do it.
And also just to add that if you are already a ham radio operator, that we can share with you the details in terms of the specific frequencies as well, and we can send it to you as a file.
So there was a question in there. It's Teresa asked, is there a minimum age requirement for CERT training? Right now we have it at 18, but we have had students that were younger than that, and we had them obviously sign a waiver. They can absolutely take the training. We just, in terms of deployment, would require that they be a minimum of 18 years old. If I'm correct, right? And the mark in the SOP.
Yeah, let me say, I was trying to respond also to a question from Ray Rothrock, and accidentally dismissed the thing. But he was pointing out that there is, and Ray, by the way, is a huge ham and radio guru in our area. Thank you very much, Ray, for all that you have done to build up our infrastructure. Ray has been very key in this too. And his statement was that if you already have a GMRS radio, some of the frequencies are listed on radio.rothrockfamily.com. And that's a good site, by the way.
Great site. And thank you again, Ray, for all the effort that you put into this, and hosting these repeaters, and all the incredible amount of time you put into this. Much appreciated. And we will also have additional information, such as the channel plans and everything, on the CERT website. It just hasn't gotten up there yet. Too many other projects, but it will be up there as well.
Chip, do we still have first aid kits? And if so, do you want to tell people how they could acquire one if they want one?
We do have some first aid kits. Yes, more than happy to help you get them. If you've already ordered and paid for one, by the way, please just send me an email. If you want to order one, send me an email. And the reason that the form is not online right now is that we got severely hacked through that form, and they were sending us hundreds of orders. And so we had to turn that off. But just send me an email at buy.wpv-ready.org, and we'll take care of you. Not a problem. And we're going to have the online sales back up here, I believe, within a month. By the end of November, you should be able to place your order with a credit card and get it shipped directly to you.
There is one more question on the Q&A. Elena Eisenman, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Apart from buying a radio, are there costs involved for the training? And the online program, the online training itself, and the basic training has no additional cost to it. If you choose to have the CERT backpack, I believe that there is a cost for that.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you choose to do the online training and you complete the course, then at that time we will allow you to purchase a backpack from us for a very, very small cost. In the past, I believe we've charged $35 for the entire class, which includes the backpack. And right now we're looking into purchasing more backpacks. So I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be around that same cost.
I have a question for you, Selena. Something that just occurred to me talking about what we used to present in the classes. We also gave out a copy of the CERT manual. Is that available? How do they get that?
So yeah, that was something we had purchased a one-time thing, and that wasn't actually a regular purchase.
Oh.
I'll have to look into it. That was those books were somewhat expensive, but Carol asked if Carol Monet asked if the backpack was the cost for the backpack were non-residents. It's a flat rate for anybody who takes CERT, whether you're a resident of Woodside Fire District or not. It's just a flat rate.
And actually the entire manual is available online.
Great.
And you can access that when we send out the link, or you can find it already on certonline.org.
All right, well, I don't see any more questions coming in here. Again, if you have a question or you think of something afterwards, please feel free to send an email to info@wpv-cert.org. And again, this video will be available, as well as all of our trainings. We already have trainings up on our WPV-Ready YouTube channel. We've been trying to record everything that we have provided for you guys, and we will be doing the same for all our future webinars and training sessions. All right, it sounds like it's pretty quiet, which, sounds pretty good. Okay, I'll say that. I'll just close this with thanks again, and make sure you sign up for SMC Alert and your family signs up for SMC Alert, and we hope to see you at our CERT training. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Selena, and everybody else.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.